Hello folks, behind us is a great old riverboat. Here in the Midwest, especially along different tributaries of the Mississippi River, such as this one, the Illinois River, oops, I spoiled it already, these ships were used. But yes, as we mentioned, we are now in the great state of Illinois, the Prairie State. This is our now 11th state. We're really stacking the numbers high on this trip. A good part of this state used to be nothing but prairies and flatlands. Yes, that's right, maybe a little more than 200 years ago, you'd find a great portion of this state covered in prairie grass and nothing really to be seen. This used to be America's western frontier, with Europeans arriving to settle the lands. That of course changed. It changed this whole state into a big field of farmland. So far in this journey, I know that our path, our itinerary hasn't been historically accurate to human settlement going west in America, but generally speaking, the pioneers went west from the east. We're going west from the east, and we've reached the first known settlement by Europeans. Obviously, Native Americans have inhabited this whole continent for thousands of years longer, but for European settlement, this is the first place they settled, in Illinois. Welcome to Peoria. Now, it only makes sense that our first stop in Illinois for the coverage project is right here in Peoria. Like I said, it's the first place that was settled in America, in Illinois. Now, I worded that poorly, but anyway, this river is the exact reason why. The mighty Illinois River provides the lush water it needs to, I don't know, hydrate the vast floodplains, and that creates a rich farming space. So everywhere around the Illinois River you can see one of two things, either abundant farmland or abundant vegetation, being the trees and the shrubs. Everything's green. Some nice shade on this sunny day, much needed. Yeah, these summers are really hot, especially in the center of the country where the ocean has no influence on moderating the temperature. So you get these hot Illinois summers that are in the high 80s and even into the 90s. The town of Peoria, or rather the city of Peoria, wasn't official until the early 1800s. Before that, there were just some settlements, maybe a fort. The French first colonized this place, as they did a lot of the midwestern states, and then it got into the hands of the Americans. And so by the time this place was established under the hands of Americans, Peoria was built, and that's where you see all these brick buildings dating back from the time when things were a lot simpler here. And today there is this lovely river walk right alongside the Illinois River, and Peoria sure takes pride in it. So much so that the steamboat that was shown in the beginning, well, it's called the Spirit of Peoria. This river invigorates the spirit of the area. Hopefully I don't need to explain why the Illinois River is called the Illinois River, just where it's located. It flows from northeastern Illinois all the way to the Mississippi River, considered one of the largest rivers in the country, and the Illinois River is quite a mighty tributary of it. Now, visiting Chicago would be nice, but I think we should just skip past that because this place is full of culture. I'd rather go here in Peoria than visit the big metropolis we all know as Chicago. Anyway, look at this amazing historical train station. Now it's converted into some sort of upscale bar or something, but You can obviously tell this was a train station back in the day, with the railroad here. They even have these upscale museums if that's your thing. I like looking at the art outdoors. Gives you sort of a perspective of the culture of the city, I guess. Or maybe it's just art, I can't tell. So as Peoria, Illinois grew and developed in terms of its status in the national stage, it literally grew attraction for another stage. This was sort of one of the main places in the vaudeville circuit, you know, old-timey theater, musicals of the time. And so the phrase developed, will it play in Peoria? As if, oh, is this musical or play going to hit the stages of Peoria? Will the people of Peoria see it? So it developed into this colloquial term where, let's say in politics or culture, something happens. People would use the phrase, will it play in Peoria, to describe, oh, are ordinary citizens going to be affected by this change? And I know I'm rambling on and on about this, but this is very important to Peoria's culture. This city eventually got this impression of just an everyday midwestern city. You know, the architecture can really tell something about the city, because I'm noticing as we go further west, there's a gradual change from East Coast colonial architecture to more, I don't know, industrial age architecture. I'm not sure exactly what the case is for Peoria, Illinois, because I'm not sure whether this resembles general Midwest American architecture or whether people thought of starting sort of what I call frontier architecture. A bit different from what you'd see in the East Coast or maybe in the Midwest. And so as we walk through downtown, it's a perfect example to figure out how does this reflect towards the culture of the area. Like back there you see, I don't know if that's a new building that just tries to resemble the old colonial architecture. That's the type of architecture, that building right there, that you'd see on the East Coast more often. But you could see these brick buildings anywhere in the country. And here's another example. This building right there. It doesn't resemble something you'd see on the eastern part of the United States, maybe, but not so much as those ornate East Coast buildings. But with this, it's very flat and blocky. It resembles this frontier style. And I'm no architect, nor am I a historian of architecture, or even history in general. It's just very fascinating to look and notice these different styles. Oh, there's a better example, hold on. Okay. Now tell me, this does not scream American frontier. I mean, you can see the way the windows are to the doors or whatever those are in front, to the roof, how it has these perpendicular angles going up and down. Now I know we are by no means in the western United States, but it's interesting to see that gradual change from colonial architecture to general American architecture to something like this. Now are we still in the Rust Belt region? I mean, this place clearly looks like it had its heyday when the Industrial Revolution was in full swing, and it seems like a lot of these buildings have these painted signs of businesses that are probably no longer running. I think it's pretty indicative of a Rust Belt city. I don't know how far west the Rust Belt enters. Maybe St. Louis is the frontier. My oh my, this is quite a historic district. This might be the historic district of Peoria. Yeah, these buildings could very well be historic factory complexes. Brick upon brick building. You know, despite all the debris and the broken windows here and there, these buildings are preserved quite well for being 100+ years old. So I guess we at the Coverage Project can also conclude that Peoria, Illinois was a city of mass industry. But there is one company that supersedes all of the other possible industries and companies in Peoria's history. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Across construction zones all over the country, possibly even the world, you will see this brand name, Caterpillar. What many people do not know is that this world-famous brand started right here in Peoria, Illinois. What started as a humble company designed to make heavy machinery around the farm, such as tractors. And it sort of makes sense, we're right in the center of this big farming state. From there, they evolved their company into making construction materials for whatever you need. Farms, construction sites. Caterpillar does the job. And no, I'm not sponsored by this company. I'm not sponsored by anything. Caterpillar history is Peoria area history. So I just thought I'd show you the visitor center. No longer is the Caterpillar headquarters right here in Peoria. It's more of a suburb of Chicago, as a lot of companies move to these cities. But there you go, that's Caterpillar. Now there is a modern city, but I think we've had our fill of those in previous videos. I mean, we did see the historic city, which I find a little more interesting. Alright, so we are outside of the Peoria city limits, but still in the Peoria area, so I thought I would bring you all here to show you this. Welcome to Tower Park. I think I hear church bells. This place is very interesting if we were here on the right day. Because Independence Day was a Sunday, they observe it today on Monday, the following day, July 5th. And thus, it's closed. Normally, this tower would be accessible. We'd be able to go all the way to the top and get a very good view of the Peoria city with the Illinois River and the high-rise buildings in the modern city center. Just unlucky that we happen to be here today. I find it so interesting how this monstrous, gigantic tower is in the middle of just some quiet, peaceful suburbs. Yeah, it would have been so cool to get a chance to go to the top of that tower, see the entirety of the Peoria area. But anyways, it's probably a very good time just to end the video. What do you think of when you hear of the great state of Illinois? Do you think of the hustling, bustling city of Chicago? Do you think of the rolling farmlands and prairies that inhabit most of the state? Do you think of the lush forests in the south of the state, right at the mouth of all these tributaries of the Mississippi River? I bet a lot of you do know about the city of Chicago. After all, it is the third largest city in the United States. And that's the problem. With Illinois, it's way too overshadowed by Chicago. There are so many cool cities like Peoria that deserve a little more attention. But sadly, unfortunately, Chicago encapsulates everybody else's interests. There are so many cool places in Illinois to explore that aren't Chicago. A city like Peoria deserves so much more attention than it gets in reality. It is such a fun city to visit. It has a lot of spunk, a lot of personality, and I'm glad that we on the Coverage Project visited Peoria first in all of Illinois. On a personal note, I was born and raised on the eastern part of the United States. I've been there for most of my life, but I do have family who live here right in the Peoria area. So I'm glad I personally got a chance to visit this area. Even though I haven't been here more than one time before in my life, for some reason it feels like a subtle home away from home. I don't know why, maybe it's just the family aspect, but Peoria itself is a lovely place to visit. So have fun there. Have fun right here in what I think is the gem of central Illinois. Anyway, time to wrap it up. Walking away from this mighty tower in Tower Park, right outside of Peoria, Illinois. More travels to come. I will see you at the next location.